Alright, I commented on a lot of your papers about the lack of a multimedia component. So remember, with this assignment, you have to make sure you have a multimedia component. If you go to the Blackboard shell and scroll down just a little bit, you'll see Multimodal Overview. If you click on that, it's going to take you to the video. And that video just basically runs you through the rhetorical considerations you have to keep in mind as you're deciding what visual component to include in there. So I'm going to run you through a little exercise. The video is great, but I'll try to shorthand some of the stuff for you. Let's say that I'm writing a paper, topic to the effects of genetically modified foods on society. My purpose, to show people that even though GMO foods are safe nutritionally, that they may have an impact on the environment, and people are afraid of the technologies. Public perceptions are bad. So my target audience is people who want to argue that because the food is safe, nothing else matters. So I know my target audience, I know my purpose, I have my thesis. While GMO foods may be healthful, people distrust the science, and the farming practices have a negative impact on the environment. Both of these are distinctly different effects, so I know I'm going to be okay with this paper, as long as I go through and I develop each of these ideas in the body and specific containers. So you can watch the Developing Ideas video for more on that. But think about the multimodal component. You have a lot of options, and it's really going to be your decision based on what your ultimate goal is. Topic, purpose, target audience. You can have a picture, a graph, an infographic, a video, a music clip, whatever you're trying to establish. Think about that main claim you're trying to get across with your cause or your effect. What is it? What can you do to illustrate that for your audience? That's what you want to do, and that's the kind of multimedia component you want to include in your paper. So as an example, I got my GMO paper. I want to say that people mistrust or distrust the technology. I could use this picture here. It's beautiful. It's got corn, it's got a syringe, it's rainbow bright. It's appealing to the eye. But if I think about that, does it really match the claim I'm trying to get across, that people distrust GMO food? The answer is not really. It shows that there's a syringe being shot into corn, but it doesn't really get to people's perceptions. This is about matching your main point with the multimedia component. You want to make sure they're on the same level, that they align so that whatever you're trying to get across actually is supported with that visual. So here's another example of what I could use. And I think this one is a better representation of the claim I'm trying to get across. If my claim is that people distrust the technology, what can I do? Safety in eating genetically modified foods. A Pew Research study, and it shows a vast majority of people are at least concerned about genetically modified food. Again, it matches my claim. I want to get to the public's perceptions and the effects that has on just the industry in general. So the visual here, it's an infographic, it's a multimedia component that does advance my argument, and it gets to my target audience's needs. If they think that only the science matters, this says, no, it's not just the science, it's also public perceptions, because if people don't trust the science and if people don't want to eat the food, you end up with a problem that you don't necessarily have to have. So that's one of my main points. And an infographic, a multimodal component that advances my point and keeps the ball going forward. So on your paper, I might have commented that your multimodal component didn't really fit. If you just had a picture of something that was interesting, kind of like my syringe with corn, it probably wasn't going to work for your paper, and it may not be the best you can choose. But keep searching. Think about that main claim. Think about your target audience. Think about your purpose. All three are aligned to help you decide what to include. So let's get to my second main point. I have a poll research for the first one. Now I go to my claim that there are negative impacts on the environment. So what do I do there? I have an infographic here. Genetically modified crops have increased herbicide use starting with 1996 up to 2011, 527 million pounds. Again, bang for the buck rhetorically. It has an image. It's easy to digest. It actually supports the main point I'm trying to get across, and it advances the ball. People only are concerned about the nutritional value of food. I'm telling them, no, there's other concerns, the environment. Here's something to think about. Now with both of these, they only really work if, after I include them into the paper with a figure 1 and a figure 2, I actually reference them. If I'm going to have the poll data, I can't just have this graph in my paper. I have to actually take a section of the paper in that container talking about this section to reference it. For example, in figure 1, you can see that U.S. adults are 57% against or think that genetically modified foods are unsafe. So that's a number. I'm referencing it in the paper. I'm trying to show my target audience what it means, and I'm explaining to them. I'm trying to comment on that evidence to drive it forward, because evidence by itself is only a graph. Same thing with this infographic. After I put it into the paper, I have to reference it. In figure 2, you'll see there's been an increase in the amount of herbicide used to plant these particular crops. Corn, soybean, cotton, 3 of the most prevalent crops in use not just in America but across the world. Corn goes into corn syrup, goes into everything. So that's a huge impact. I have to reference it in the body, I have to talk about it, I have to contextualize it. So it's a pairing. You have to have the right image, the right multimedia component, and you have to integrate it in and talk about it in the body of the paper. There's a lot to think about, a lot to digest, but I hope this helps you think about how you can revise from rough draft to final draft and include that multimodal component.